My entire childhood was spent visiting state prisons and cemeteries. That was how we visited family. Those are my memories of being a child in the 1980s. Instead of playing games with other kids or watching cartoons, I was visiting prisons and cemeteries.
Those words were written in 2016 by Maryam Akbari-Monfared, whose sister and 3 brothers were killed in the 1980s during a wave of extrajudicial executions. Maryam is now a political prisoner herself. She has been held in Evin prison's women's ward since 2009, after being arrested during the violent crackdown on the peaceful protests that erupted against that year's presidential election. In 2010, she was found guilty of waging war against God by Judge Salavati, notorious for imposing harsh sentences on activists and political detainees. Maryam was accused of being connected to the outlawed opposition group, the PMOI, a claim she has repeatedly denied, and the authorities have failed to prove. If her case were reviewed, she would be eligible for release, but the authorities refused to carry out a review. 6 years into her imprisonment, she remains haunted by the memory of her loved ones. In 2016, she filed a complaint from prison against judicial officials for the unjust execution of her sister and brothers, and demanded they reveal their causes of death and places of burial. Her complaint only led to the further denial of her basic rights, including the right to adequate medical treatment, despite suffering from debilitating arthritis, and she was threatened with no longer being able to see her daughter. Maryam's child has also spent her childhood visiting prisons.
My beautiful daughter grew up walking along prison walls, passing through metal gates, and looking at me through the thick glass in meeting rooms.
She wrote in one letter. In another, to the judicial officials who made the threats against her, she said,
"So you threatened to ban a young girl from seeing her mother? A mother who doesn't even know her daughter's favorite color, doesn't know her favorite meal, or what her favorite games and hobbies are? Aren't you ashamed? What have you left me that you can threaten to take away?"
The judiciary's only response was to demand that she withdraw the complaint.
In the 7 years I have spent in Evin, Gohardasht, and Qarchak-Varamin prisons, I have witnessed and heard about crimes that put me in a position to make threats against you, not the other way around.
She responded. Iran's judiciary must halt the abuse and intimidation of Maryam Akbari-Monfared, investigate her legitimate demands, and secure this innocent woman's release.